All right, what's going on, everybody? My name is Shawn Vaughn, and welcome to Champions Material. As always, glad to be here. Well, it's here. The next generation of console gaming. PlayStation, Xbox launched their systems, the PlayStation 5 and the Xbox Series X and S, respectively. So, with me today to give their thoughts on what we've seen so far in next gen and what to look forward to in 2021 and beyond. My guys, DA, aka Daniel Adams, and Ben Chandler. Fellas, get on in here, man. Welcome back to Champions Material. What's happening, bro? Thanks for being here, man. What's going on, brother?
Good to see you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Get on in here, man.
Let's kick it off.
Oh, yeah. All right, let's go. Let's go. All right. So before we get started, it's important that I put this out there to all the listeners. I, myself, Shawn Vaughn, the host of Champions Material, am an employee of Sony, specifically PlayStation. But the opinions expressed here on Champions Material are ours and ours alone. So I want to get that out there for everybody. And now that we have, let's get rolling. Let's do this.
Let's do it.
All right, fellas. So, the reality is, and I want to put this out for the people as well. The fact of the matter is, our direct impressions are going to come primarily from a PlayStation standpoint. Yeah. Why is that? Well, we all have PlayStation 5 systems, and none of us directly have the Xbox Series X or S consoles. But we know people that have them. I think we all do a fairly good job of, staying ahead of what's going on from other platforms as well. So we're going to give it to you live. We're going to give it to you direct, and these are once again be our opinions. So with that, being said, let's go. Now, before we even get into 2021, I just wanted to just kick this out. DA, I'll start with you, man. Mm-hmm. You finally got your hands on that PlayStation 5, man, and we'll start from a hardware standpoint.
Okay.
And then we'll dive into the software.
Okay.
But just generally speaking, you got your hands on it. What are your impressions, man? What do you think?
First thing, it's quiet. It doesn't make any noise except for when the disc spins up, and that happens rarely. It happens. But that was the first thing. I came from the rocket ship to a whisper machine.
Shout out to the pro, man. we love you.
Love the pro, right?
I even cleaned it out and still woo. But that was the first thing. The setup was a little weird, but once I got used to the vertical situation and how to put the disc
So how did you do it? Did you go vertical?
I went vertical just because I'm getting PC vibes. I'm a PC gamer. I converted towards the end of PS4, and it looks like a PC in that orientation to me, so that's why I like it so much. So I even made a pedestal in my living room dedicated to having it this way.
Nice.
Nice. That's what's up.
But just learning the way the disc goes in, that was a really hard thing for me at first, just because I'm just used to it being something you don't think about.
Right.
You just put it in, and now it's kind of but I don't care. I mean, once the game gets in there, it's boom, all that fast loading. I mean, I would prefer some of the PS4 games a little bit faster, but I mean, you can't really fault third-party developers for not diving into this new tech yet. But on that end, also the controller is really, really cool. I can't get enough of the controller. I even got a custom colored one from Colorware, because I have 4 dual senses. I love them so much. But I mean, from the hardware side, and just it being so quiet, it loading so fast, and then the controller just kicks it out of the atmosphere. It's dope. I love it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, man. I'm gonna kick it to you, Ben. You went through hell to get it. We just talked about that.
Bro, y'all gonna hear a little bit about this in a minute.
But you finally got your hands on it, man. What are your impressions? What do you think?
So, little preface to it. Obviously, I was unable to obtain a pre-order for it. So, as the launch was happening and things were going on, I'm like, all right, so let me hop online, deal with the oh dear Walmart situation constantly, Best Buy, Target, Amazon, Ant Online. And eventually, I had to fight fire with fire, man. So I had to make a Twitter account. Follow, 8 or 9 different people on Twitter. Never did a Twitter before, specifically just to, catch PS5. So finally, I was able to get one ordered from the December 17th Walmart drop.
Yeah.
And it came on New Year's Eve. So I was like, hey, we ending the year strong and we're starting it even stronger, man. So first impression is this thing is humongous.
Yes.
This thing is humongous.
So for the video audience out there, for the radio audience that won't be able to see the video, definitely check it out if you can on the official Champions Material YouTube channel. But we actually have one of these bad boys out here. This is the PS5, and as Ben was just alluding to, it is a monster.
Yes, it's a monster, man. First thing I did was what most people do, which is I downloaded Astro's Playroom, checked it out, because I wanted to see the tech behind it. And it's super innovative. It kind of takes some things that had been applied before, stuff like using the remote on the Wii remote actually to kind of interact was super cool when you're playing Astro's Playroom. And you'll notice if you guys get a chance to play it, it's pretty dope because it splits it up and kind of highlights every feature of the PS5 and the controller and how it utilizes the wind to simulate stuff and the vibration through the controller at different points in the controller, and not just to be one traditional kind of 64 rumble pack, traditional dual shot, to kind of individualize the how that structure is dope, man. The adaptive triggers are dope because it feels, actually makes you feel like you're interacting in the world instead of pressing the button, like the button is interacting with you, which is a different approach. So I can definitely appreciate all the think tank that went into how do we make this an even more immersive tech. So that's been my experience so far. And, on top of that, man, just how old games run. I'm a little spoiled now. So everything that's on the hard drive itself, or excuse me, the SSD, the solid state drive.
All right.
Everything that's on that is running 4K 60. So Borderlands 3, Ghost of Tsushima, Spider-Man Remastered. Oh my goodness gracious, man. Like it honestly feels like another generation from PS4, even though it's a remaster. So I'm a little spoiled now because that's all I want, So but just to piggyback on what he was talking about before, man, the loading speeds, like from start to entry, even when you're loading a save game or something like Spider-Man, it's like 2 seconds at most.
Think about that.
It's just convenience, man. Like for me, I don't use all the features of it, but what I do use for it, it's, I got 30 minutes to play, boom, jump in, I'm ready to play. And like he said, man, nice and quiet, nice and quiet. So it's just nice in my entertainment center, man.
Absolutely. And I wanted to get into something that I thought, we touched on a bit, but I thought you really, highlighted when we did the previous episode, which was the Replayables remix, available. That was from season 1, episode 12, available anywhere podcasts are found. And we had the PC console conversation, and us not having our hands on it yet, just going off of the impressions of what we had seen so far and knowing that the SSD would be in there, I posed the question, is this the first console generation where you can have a respectable conversation as far as comparing PC and performance hardware from a hardware perspective in console? And again, for everybody out there listening, we understand that if you're going all the way to the max as far as your build on your PC, no, we're not going there, but we're saying, just generally speaking, can we, how does the PS5, and based on what we've seen and heard, Xbox Series X, how does it stack up to PC? I mean, because you do both, you're a PC gamer and you play on console. So what are your impressions there, man? What do you think?
I'm more towards the console now, probably because it's new. I like that a lot of the features that I ran to the PC for at the end of the PS4 generation are here now, like the ray tracing and the SSD, because I was having these features before. It's just slightly better because there's better games. Their SSD is a little bit faster than mine because I have an older gen. Like I don't have an M.2.
Right.
I will soon when they support it, but But yeah, like a lot of my PC friends have been in the same position. They've been very distraught, not able to find one, even though they know they might not even use it that much. They really, really want it. So like it does appeal to the PC gamer. How long? I don't know. Once more hardware comes out in the next few years, you might see that die down. But like right now, everybody, it's all eyes on the PlayStation.
So the PC. So okay, you know what?
Even the PC. Yeah,
there you go.
They can't get it, but they're trying.
Yeah,
they're still trying.
The reality of the situation is, I hadn't heard that previously, and I'm talking about even with the Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro, which obviously hit, mid-cycle last gen. most PC gamers that are primarily hardcore, they stick to what they know. So whether this is just based on the fact that right now it's new or whatever, the point is right now you got PC gamers looking at a next gen console for the first time. So, I just wanted to double back to that because I thought I thought you did a great job as far as touching on that and just sort of where we were going with that.
Well, they really don't have a reason to buy an Xbox. I mean, you have one already. So, I mean, I can play any Xbox game I want. I can even get Game Pass if I really want it. But
okay, fine, enough. Let's just go ahead and let's just address the elephant in the room. Like we talked about our experiences, and by the way, all I'll add to is, to everything that they've said so far, it's dope.
It's dope.
But in all seriousness, Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X. I mean, we don't personally have them. But I've gotten my hands on it. I'm not sure if you all have. I've gotten my hands on the Xbox Series X, and there are things to like there. And the first thing that my guy, who's a big Xbox enthusiast, the first thing he jumped on was that Game Pass.
Yeah,
it's the first thing he went to, right? But just what are your impressions based on what you've seen? What you've heard. Like, where are we with Xbox Series?
Let me ask you this: doesn't it seem like that's what Xbox wants? And this is what I mean. So Windows they're a software company, essentially, right? I mean, they do a good job, and they brought their their Surface team in to help develop the Series X, from what I understand.
Right.
But if you're Microsoft and you've been in now, how many generations is this? This is the fourth generation of hardware for them.
Yeah.
And they've yet to really penetrate to where they're the main system. They kind of split the market with PS3 and 360.
They did.
But they were never like the main console, right? So now you look at the Series X, and just by design, it looks like what? It looks like a PC tower.
It does.
Right? A mini PC tower. And now you go to incremental hardware, and they didn't have any big launch games, like literally zero, right? So now what they're focusing so heavily on is let's leverage the power of Windows PC, as opposed to diving. This is just my opinion. This is what it looks like and feels like to me. It's basically they're focused on their engagement with Xbox Live and actual software sales, as opposed to the Series X being the main console in the living room, because now they're in between a rock and a hard place. They mangled Windows gaming, Xbox Live gaming on PC for years.
Yeah.
And we all know that. I mean, if anybody even played it, but so now what happened is in that space, Steam took over, right? And now it's an open source kind of place to go. And at that same time, Apple's closed ecosystem worked for them. So now you have Microsoft, who has a closed ecosystem where you have to run everything through Windows in order for it to even work in the first place, right?
Yeah.
And then you have PlayStation and Nintendo dominating in the console hardware and mobile kind of gaming unit. So for them, they're going to do what's most profitable. And what's most profitable is focus on the software and Xbox Game Pass and bolstering that and building that avenue, as opposed to just strictly going console, because PlayStation and Nintendo have utterly dominated in that area. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It feels
I
like,
feel
to
you. Okay.
me, the
Makes
perception as a consumer is it's almost like they want you to go to PC, but they leverage the power of the brand to get you there, as opposed to focusing on like what PlayStation does. It's like we've got game after game after game after game that you can only get on PlayStation, or at least for a year or two,
right.
as opposed to everything day and date is on every platform, and you just choose ours, being Xbox, because you get Game Pass. So it's an interesting dynamic, and that's what we had mentioned before when we talked about last season, how everybody's diverging into their own lane. It seems like Microsoft's doubling down on that to get everybody into the PC market.
Are you surprised? If that's ultimately
A little bit. I'm a little surprised because it almost admits defeat, in my opinion. So I don't know. We'll see.
I mean,
We'll see what happens.
if the shoe fits, right?
Yeah.
So anything you wanted to add to that? Like, where are you seeing from the
I don't do much research on Xbox. I know it's a game console. And I know that it's I can play all their games on PC, so that's like as far as I like really research it, because I know with PlayStation I'm getting quality exclusive content I don't mind paying for it.
Right.
So like, if I want to get Game Pass, I could add that on. You know, like I said, like they don't have any games for me to do that. So like, not personally.
Here's the thing, man. And I don't, and this is not me being an employee of PlayStation. This is just being a gamer first that, you know, stays on top of, you know, what's going on in news and current events. From pre-launch, PlayStation, in my opinion, did a great job of clearly establishing their message and where they are. You know, play has no limits. And throughout all of the showcases that we saw leading to launch, here's what I noticed. Exclusive games and exclusive experiences, not primarily just, you know, leaning toward, you know, third party and not leaning toward multiplayer,
Right.
is still going to remain a focus of ours, and we're not changing that. Okay, Returnal. All right, looking forward to that. Okay, you know, Horizon 2. So in other words, the blueprint is laid out. So I already know, okay, coming up, and we spoke to this on the episode that we did last season. I know, even I knew before the launch of the console how 2020 was looking and how 2021 was looking, and they were coming out swinging.
Right.
Not only were they coming out swinging, but they established a clear direction and a clear goal as far as what their program is and where they're going. If you heard what he was saying, he was giving you his opinions, but Ben was not. It seems like none of us here sitting here, and I'm pretty sure this applies to some of the members, some of the people that are listening. What is the goal? What is Microsoft's goal with the Xbox Series X? Not just at launch, not just in 2021, but in like beyond that. Like what is the Xbox Series X or S identity? I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't.
Yeah. It almost feels like
PlayStation has an identity. Nintendo
definitely
clearly has an identity. What is Xbox's identity?
To me, honestly, what I think their end game is to move past console in general and be a software service on as many devices as possible. Because if you look at the Bethesda acquisition, and they were already putting their games on as many things as possible. Skyrim is on TV remotes at this point, it feels like, right? Alexa, play Skyrim, you know, that's the running meme, right?
Yeah.
So those two ideas merge. Their biggest platform has always been on PC, right? And if you look at Microsoft's approach with Azure servers, and I want to throw this in there because I don't think a lot of people pay enough attention to it, and it's a proof of concept, and that's Google Stadia. Because I actually have one, and it runs lightning fast with no lag. It's actually very impressive. And Phil Spencer recently came out and actually talked about, oh no, you might see Xbox as something that you can just plug in to your TV.
You said that.
Yeah, kind of like a USB style. So I think they're going to try and compete in that area. They don't have something like a Chromecast Ultra, but it would be foolish to think that they're not trying to compete directly with Google in that area, because from somebody who owns one and has tried it, the ease of use and how simple it is, if you can get something for $100 or less and then just stream your games, it honestly feels like if they can improve on the latency input that Stadia has, and Stadia is fantastic. If you watch anything on like online on Digital Foundry, they'll do a lot of comparison videos and things like that. There's, especially with the hardwired connection, it's very impressive on what it's able to do. So it honestly feels like what they're trying to do is compete in a different realm in game than console, because they know, and they're just trying to leverage the power of the Xbox brand to shift into that avenue, as opposed to just primarily being a console gamer. In my opinion, that's what it feels like, because Wii U came out in 2012, right? A year before PS4, Xbox One, and had no big launch exclusives for a year.
Right.
And within that time frame, the system died off.
Yeah. It never really recovered.
It never recovered.
And we talked a moment ago about, you know, the lack of an identity for your console. The Wii U, frankly, never quite established a clear identity of its own.
Whereas the Switch did. A lot of people completely forget about the Wii U altogether.
Yeah.
You know, and it was the same generation as PS4 and Xbox One, and Switch almost felt like the ultimate evolution of that concept. So this feels more like the Wii U, and that's what they're preparing for, is their ultimate evolution of what their next concept will be. Because when you come out and you have impressive hardware, but no games to show for it, what's the real end game? It feels like they're developing this ammo and keeping everything kind of building up for halfway into the gen to end the gen into something bigger than what I think we might be looking for. Interesting thoughts.
Yeah, think about that.
Yeah, there's a lot of context right there, man. We'll leave it there for the time being, but that is something that we'll come back to as we get further into 2021 and see, you know, what we hear from Microsoft and what they're playing in. So, but before we dive into, you know, the games that we're looking forward to in 2021, I wanted to kind of get you all's, you know, thoughts on, you know, hey, you got your consoles, you got the PS5s. What y'all playing, bro? I'll kick it to you to start. Like, what, you know?
I mean,
what's in your rotation since you got your system?
Well, I mean, I already played all the launch titles and got all the platinums. So, I mean, Miles Morales, Maneater, Demon Souls.
Oh, Demon Souls.
Yeah, it was good. They nerfed it. I don't want to play it anymore. I started a little bit of Godfall recently, and it's a game.
Right.
It plays. You know?
Godfall feels like what traditional launch games, like it feels that void of, we're going to show you the tech, what it's capable of, beautiful graphics, and while it's enjoyable, it's not spectacular.
Yeah,
you know,
doesn't grab you. You know what I mean?
But I enjoy it. Like I like for what it is. The gameplay loop is enjoyable, right? And it's fun. But like you said, it's a launch. It's what you would expect from a launch game, like new visuals. Slightly new tech, and we'll see what it does, but it doesn't really kind of expand outside of that, right?
Yeah, it'd be greater if it had matchmaking. I mean, I feel like that would just fix a lot of the problems because they don't really tune any of the gameplay for less than 3 players.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I've been playing Cyberpunk, and it's probably crashed like 70 times.
You know, at the end of the game. Okay.
And before you say anything, I will tell you, I actually bought Cyberpunk on Google Stadia for that reason. And it's basically streams the PC version and runs fantastic. And I haven't had any crashes. Yeah, and they actually had a promo where if you bought Cyberpunk on Stadia, you got a free Stadia. So I actually bought that. So I was planning on buying anyway, and got one of my friends one of my friends a Stadia, and he actually really likes it as well. So once I did a lot of research and heard what was going on, because I'm a huge CD Projekt Red fan, man. I love them, but man, they really botched this one big time. So this is one of those things you might not rebound.
A lot of stories behind the launch and timing and everything like that, you know. So we'll but you know they
did it themselves a little bit.
No, not a lot more.
Not
than
that
a
lot more than a little bit. Now.
It's just that management. They definitely they were keeping a blind eye for some reason.
Right.
Okay, so let me be more specific. You know what I mean? I think we've all delved into a little bit of everything as far as the launch titles. Of the launch titles you've played so far on the PlayStation 5, which one stands out to you the most? It's just a little bit, you have it up here a little bit more than everything else. Like, what has been your launch title of launch titles so far that you've played?
Well, it'd be easy for me to say like Demon Souls or whatever, but the most enjoyable game that I played out of the launch series of games was The Pathless.
Oh, I got that too. It's good. It's really good.
Do me a favor, man. Just highlight real quick, you know, for anybody out there who may not be familiar or as familiar with Pathless, just break down what the game is all about.
Well, I mean, it's kind of vague, but you basically get this eagle, and you're able to use the eagle to like platform to do puzzles and stuff. And as you're collecting little collectibles in the puzzles, you're leveling up a bar that gives you more flaps. And when you're going through the puzzles, you might unlock like tokens, and you get certain tokens. It's almost like Zelda Breath of the Wild in a way.
Yeah.
And you use the tokens to unlock towers. Once you get the 3 towers, you unlock the boss fight, and then you get to do a really cool boss fight. And there's like 5 bosses, and the end is just ridiculous.
And to piggyback off what he's saying, when he means vague, it's like games like Journey, like Abzu and things like that, where you're in this world and you're like, all right, what do I do? How do I interact with what's going on? And it's dope because you have bow and arrow, and you increase your speed by shooting the there's these little, I guess, tokens or icons in the world, and when you shoot them, it increases your movement speed. And it's dope because it's very fluid. If you think about how,
and is that how you
that's how you traverse until you flap through that. Like if you need to go vertical, you jump, and then you bring up the eagle
Yeah.
Flap. I forgot all about that because it's
Yeah.
just like there's so much to talk about.
It's dope.
But yeah, like, and you can even do like skill shots. If you like half fill it, it'll make you go even faster.
Mhm.
And it's like
The pathless.
yeah,
Okay.
it's a good game.
It's different,
Yeah.
you know, and it's very abstract. And
As soon as you said
artistic.
Journey, I'm like, you had
Yeah.
my ear at that point. I'm
Exactly.
like, okay, it's
Exactly.
giving you Journey vibes.
Yeah.
I'm all in. Okay.
Yeah.
So Pathless is your launch title.
Yeah, I enjoyed it
So
the
far,
most.
that is your,
Like, I mean, not the most, but I think it was probably the most pure fun
Yeah.
out of
just enjoyable
everything.
to
And
play.
it surprised me because I wasn't expecting it to be what it was.
Yeah.
I just took a chance and then I loved it.
What's up, man? Yeah, it's good to be surprised every now and then. You know.
Mhm.
All right. What about you, man? What is your your title so far? Your game.
Man, so this is tough for me because because it was a month journey of me trying to get it,
Yeah.
post launch. I went ahead and basically just purchased the PS4 versions of the games that I knew I wanted at launch of PS5.
Yes.
So I had already purchased Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Sackboy, and Miles Morales.
Yeah.
Right. So I had already purchased those, and I actually beat Miles Morales right before I got my PS5, which was fantastic. So, but I had the version that came with Spider-Man Remastered already purchased digitally. So obviously I fired that up on a PS5. It literally looks like a PS5 game. It's ridiculous how good it runs and plays. I'd have to say, hands down, as far as just launch games, definitely Demon's Souls. Demon's Souls was the first Souls experience that I ever had, which was on PS3.
Right.
And this looks like, it feels like when they did the Shadow of the Colossus remake on PS4, like the original
Same team did that, right?
Yeah, Blue Point.
Yeah, Blue Point. When they did that, it was like
went
what it always should have been.
Right.
This is what Demon's Souls feels like. Like I play in performance mode, 60 FPS. It feels like the environments are absolutely gorgeous, insanely gorgeous. But it feels like what Demon's Souls should have always been, like the ultimate version of it. And it's incredibly addictive to me after having spent so much time afterwards really diving into the Souls formula, going back and seeing it kind of in its original kind of purest form really is hands down. And the visuals just like visuals don't make a game, but I'd be damned if Demon's Souls isn't like, it's so stunning, visually that it makes me want to continue to explore the world because it looks that good. And it's so interactive, especially just when you start in the Kingdom of Boletaria, just starting and seeing how the dragons interact and tear down everything. It's honestly, man, that to me is the best launch game in my opinion. And it's great to have something that substantial day one on the system. So that'd be my one. Yeah.
And for me personally, Spider-Man Miles Morales. And
solid.
And the reality, you know what? And let me be real. When I first heard that it wasn't, not going to be as long as far as the length of the game and everything like that as the Spider-Man that we got in 2018, I felt some kind of way a little bit, but playing through it, I felt like it was perfect. I felt like from the time, like for me, it was maybe 13 hours. From start to finish was absolutely perfect. There was absolutely nothing repetitive at all.
I agree.
I loved the vibe of Miles' story. I felt like it was very endearing. My son is a huge Sebastian. Shout out to you, champ. Is a huge Miles Morales fan. So he's loved it. So we had a chance to bond going through it. I loved, and again, spoiler alert. So if you have not experienced Miles Morales yet, you don't want to hear certain things, just go ahead and skip ahead the next few minutes and we'll see you then. And I forget the young lady's name at the end of you've all beaten Miles Morales.
Yeah,
what is the young lady's name? That is deaf that he
Haley.
Haley. So for those who are in the deaf community, just bringing that in, some of the side missions that really spoke to gentrification. Let's keep it real. There were a lot of themes, LGBT. So it was just a lot of themes that were really explored. That they said, hey, we're going, even though we're doing obviously the story about Miles Morales, we understand what's going on in the greater world. And I thought it was just much more relatable.
I agree with that. And to piggyback on that a little bit, I love how the culture was represented. So my mom's family, they're Puerto Rican. They're all from the Bronx.
Yes.
Right. And what I loved about Miles in particular is he even spoke the way we would speak. And this is what I mean. So the first time he's in a group of people that he's surrounded, instead of it being a traditional Peter Parker line, you know, and I love Spider-Man, but he always drops like, you know, some corny one-liners, and that's the appeal of his character.
Right.
Yeah.
Miles was great because, you know, he got around a group of people, and instead of, you know, being some corny, he said, "Oh, you're about to catch these hands." And, you know, for me, I was like, that's it, bro. That's like you're getting at the core and the essence of, you know, how we would speak and stuff like that. Like that resonated with me. That because he was like, "You're about to catch these hands," and I was like, that's exactly what I was saying. You know what I mean? Like, so it felt they did such a good job of how the culture is represented in that game. I thought it was like the colors and all that stuff, man, and the interactions. That translated better than I thought it and hoped it possibly could.
Yeah. So really I just really enjoyed that game, and I thought it was a perfect, you know, pace. I thought it was a perfect length. And as much as I, you know, thought perhaps it was a bit short after playing through it, I thought it was perfectly done right. The perfect amount of time from start to finish. So shout out to Spider-Man, Miles Morales. So before we transition into what we're looking forward to in 2021 from the games that we are going to be seeing, I didn't originally plan on doing this, but you know, this is one of those I gotta know whether it's current gen or next gen. DA, what was your 2020 game of the year and why?
Okay, I
What was
mean,
Daniel's game of the year in 2020?
there was a lot of heavy hitters, but I mean,
you knew it was coming. You've been on Champions material before.
Yeah, well, see, the thing is, it's already been out for a while. It finally hit 1.0 this year. Hades.
Okay.
I had so much fun with Hades. Like, there were so many good games this year, but Hades just hit different because, like, I've been waiting for another roguelike, kind of like I can't remember the name of the game right now, but it was one I played on PlayStation all the time. But yeah, like that game got me into that style, but I never found another game that I liked like this. And like Hades, just the way that the narrative comes out, like the way that they talk crap to you after you die, like they know specifically everything that happened. It's just like, how did they program all these different like speech triggers? Like, it was just, I mean, the game just keeps going and going and going, and you just unlock more weapons, and like it just all hits. And it's like, I mean, I just love it. It's just good. And then the fact that they added the Switch cross save right before Christmas, and now I can just like, I went, you know, I had to go to people's houses. I'm like, all right, now I can just play on the go, come back, and then play it on Steam. You know, like, I mean, there's a reason to have a Switch still now. I haven't used it in forever, and now it's like, oh, well, sure, I'll double dip. Yeah, but yeah, like Hades is dope.
All right, so Hades, your 2020 game of the year. Ben, your game of the year in 2020 was.
This is easy, man. Number one game. I got 250 hours on it.
Oh, I know it.
Neo 2. That's it, man. That's it. And I played so much. And this is coming from probably the biggest Final Fantasy VII fan you'll ever meet. And what the remake did for me emotionally will never be topped. Yeah. Honestly, it's incredible. I can't wait to see what else they do. I mean, obviously, I love Ghost of Tsushima. Obviously, I've been waiting to beat The Last of Us Part 2, like just so I can play it on the PS5, right? Yeah. So all these big games, incredible games, Persona 5 Royal, I love it. I can't wait for Persona 5 Strikers. So many big games, but there's always one game that if I got 30 minutes to an hour, I'm going to play. Get in there. And that's Neo 2. And then, you know, obviously Neo Collection and Neo Remaster dropping next month. Yes. 4K 60, even up to 120, which I do have a Sony Bravia TV that takes advantage of that. All right. So I upgraded completely, man. I had to future-proof myself, man. Sometimes these big purchases are important, 5 to 7 years, you know what I'm saying? You're making big investments. So yes. So Neo 2, man, hands down. Replayability, all the DLC that came out, extra weapons. The last one that they did was fists. And you can basically make them like claws, or you can make them like martial arts style. It's just so fun to pick up and play that I would be doing that game a disservice, man. Shout out to Team Ninja, man. They do a great job. Obviously, they're going to be moving on from that franchise for right now. Right. And hopefully they give us a new Ninja Gaiden, because that's basically a Ninja Gaiden RPG. It's pretty much what it is. How it plays, how smooth it is, how action-packed it is. The boss fights are very similar to what you would experience in a Ninja Gaiden game. So to me, that's it, bro. 2020, Neo 2. I wish it would get more love, man, because honestly, it's one of the top of the line kind of action RPGs that you can find out there. And the replayability is literally endless, man.
Infinite,
So,
yeah.
free-play
Right.
co-op. It's dropping on PC. Same time it does the collection.
I
So
picked it up on PS4 for $10
fantastic.
during the holidays because I knew
Good.
the PS5 update was coming.
Yep.
So I mean, I was like, I got into Demon Souls. I might as well try this now.
Yeah.
Because I played the demos and I wasn't into it, but I wasn't into Souls back then. So now I'm like, I dipped my toe. I mean, I threw my whole self in, get the platinum. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go into it. I've been holding off till they drop that.
And I did platinum Neo too.
Oh,
That's how hardcore. That's how hardcore I am about that game, y'all. Y'all don't understand.
That's some
I gotta hit him with the.
That's right.
Now, so for me, special shout out, Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Yes. Yes.
Loved Final Fantasy VII Remake and really loved. And the characters all played differently. Tifa, shout out to her.
That's your boo.
That's that boo thing, man. Shout out to her.
And just not to cut you off, but just imagine what that's going to look like running on Unreal Engine 5. By the way, with the SSD tech on PS5. Oh my goodness! But please continue. Please continue. I hope everybody becomes a Final Fantasy fan in the whole world.
No excuses.
7 Remake and 16 looks incredible too. So
absolutely. So, no, shout out to Final Fantasy 7. Had to get that in there. Ghost of Tsushima. Sucker Punch. I mean, come on now. The third franchise. How we talked about this previously. Some games you give a chance and you'll just give it a chance and eventually it gets you within the first 5 minutes. As soon as you get in there, you get into battle. And then you fight Khan with them. And you have no chance, but just the way it just brings you into it. Start to finish, and then I know you've been on Legends, and we'll talk about that.
There's no learning curve.
Legends,
you can put it down for months and come back
and just get right into it. So I mean, Sucker Punch, Sly Cooper, near and dear to my heart. Infamous, love it, and then once again, and them just completely stepping out of their comfort zone and just delivering. And we talked about like the culture and Miles Morales, the culture that is applied to that game as far as the era that it took place. You can see it. You can see how authentic it is. Nothing felt repetitive. Nothing felt shoehorned in. Nothing felt forced. Pick up and play. Absolutely, that took my whole summer. Love it.
And to be so authentic to culture, where even the Japanese developers are coming out being like, "This is very well done."
Yes.
You know what I mean? So to do something like that, I think probably is what they're most proud of, if I had to say. Like to authentically, replicate and represent Japanese culture in that way, and it be so artistic and so well done. I think it was incredible. It's a very good game. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. How y'all feel about the just like the weapon system and everything like that?
It's great. It's like
great.
Neo.
Yeah.
Shout out to Neo too, baby. Let's go.
Yeah. All right.
I don't really have any complaints about it.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that the only thing that I didn't like was how you had to always go into the menu to switch your gear. Like, because if you're exploring, you want to have the explorer gear, so you have the bigger, and like once they added that stuff in, like where you could switch gear sets, I feel like it was a little too late, but I already beat it. So, but yeah, other than that, it's great. And then the way that they dumbed it down a little bit for Legends, it just works.
Yeah.
It's
just seamless. Yeah. Gotcha. All right. But my game of the year, and this is, so before I even get into it, my game of the year is going to be a game that actually came out in 2019. You know where I'm going. And at that time, as much as I enjoyed it, I was absolutely furious that for the first time, my favorite character from one of my favorite franchises was featured throughout, and I couldn't play. And, again, as frustrated as I was about that, I ultimately enjoyed the game, played the hell out of it, Bloody Palace, the whole nine. My game of the year in 2020, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition.
I'm not surprised by that.
Yeah.
Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. Replayed through it. And obviously all the perks of getting it, playing on the PlayStation 5 was there outside of photo mode, which could have, used a little bit more meat on the bone. But other than that, man, just absolutely replayed through it. Went through the legendary Dark Knight mode, so which is hordes
That's great.
of demons and everything like that, and just enjoyed it. Enjoyed Dante. V, as always, grows on me.
Yeah.
Nero, love him. I can't wait to see how his character evolves and just sort of the things that he can do. But Virgil, as soon as I got it, and I went right to him, and Virgil is one of my favorite, probably in my top 4 or 5, just video game characters, regardless of genre, period, of all time, going all the way back to the OG original, PS2. Playing with him was an absolute joy. Playing with him is an absolute joy. He has more, or more things that he can do than Nero, obviously. B, again, just plays completely, unique to everyone else. And Dante, as much as I love him, there are times, especially when you're dealing with just demon after demon, where the number of options is almost overwhelming at times.
Right.
You know what I mean? As far as just, what weapons you use, how to, imply them, what to do. Are you going to build? Are you going to use your Sin Devil? Are you going to build to that? Or are you just going to just use your regular? Like, it can be overwhelming. Virgil, to me, has always been done perfectly as far as what you can do, what you can switch to, how to go into the the menu and just customize. Okay, I'll just prioritize the Beowulf here, your modal there, blah blah blah. But it's just those 3. You know where you're going. You know what you can do based on the opponent that you're dealing with or the demon that you're dealing with. And I have never hit. The last time that I think that I got to a point where I was in sync with the character on the level of how I was with Virgil in DMC5 Special Edition, Dudley. Super Street Fighter 4. We're just where it was effortless. Everything was just a flow. I didn't have to think, and just going through the legendary Dark Knight mode with Virgil, going through the Bloody Palace, actually beating the Bloody Palace without having to use the super Virgil. That game gave me endless hours and hours of joy. And much like you were talking about with Neo, if you got 30 minutes, you can get in there and do what you have to do. If you got a couple of hours, you can get in there and do what you got to do. And it was just perfect. So again, special shout out to Final Fantasy VII, Ghost of Tsushima, but my game of the year for 2020, Devil May Cry 5 Special Edition. So had to get that in there. All right, so as we're here in 21, we're done with 2020. Thank goodness. All right, we'll see how things go on the bigger scale, but just within the realm of gaming, what games are we looking forward to, man? 2021 is here. What are you looking forward to that should be coming out this year? You talked about the Neo collection. We knew that.
So I'm really looking forward to what Ratchet and Clank can do with the SSD tech, because they always have such great imaginations. I can only imagine what they can pull off with the PS5. What weapon variety, what world variety. The color palette is great. I mean, it's literally like playing a Pixar movie, but this is going to be on a different scale. Yeah, man. So if we're looking at Ratchet and Clank, I'm beyond stoked for that. Which is interesting because I never played that on PS2. I accidentally ran into that over a summer on PS3. Wow. They had Quest for Booty on sale, and I was like, I'll try it. But if I try it, I knew it wasn't the first in the Future series. Right. So I went ahead and bought Tools of Destruction. Yeah. And when I played that, I was hooked, and I went through that whole thing that summer.
My favorite one still is A Crack in Time.
Yeah, exactly. And I smashed A Crack in Time. It was fantastic. Right. And then ever since then, I've been a huge fan. So obviously the remake looked and runs great on PS4. So I can't wait to see how it looks on PS5. Returnal looks great for me still. Every time they show something new, it looks great because the gameplay loop looks like so much fun because Housemarque is excellent. Yeah. Resogun, Nex Machina, Matterfall. And so this is the first one outside of that arcade shmup kind of. Right. So I'm interested to see what they can do with it.
Outside of the box.
If Horizon does hit the kind of holiday period that we would expect it to, Horizon Forbidden West. Yes. That might be the best looking game of all time when it comes out. With the evolved Decima engine, because they did that with Horizon. You've seen how Horizon runs on PC, and Death Stranding looks incredible. They also used a modified Decima engine. to see what they can do with the traversal. Because the only real complaint I had about the first one was the melee combat. They could use more variety with it, but as far as setting people up with traps and the tools and the skill set that Aloy has in Horizon for Zero Dawn, I can only imagine what they're going to do to expand that. And so that'll be incredible too. Outside of that, so what else is dropping that I'm most excited about? I've been a huge racing fan, so Gran Turismo, of course, will look and run incredible. But I would have to say Kena, Bridge of Spirits, because the guys that do it, Ember Labs, they came from the movie industry.
Yeah.
So when you watch it, if you've never seen a trailer of that, Kena, Bridge of Spirits, it reminds you kind of both Avatars, like Avatar: The Last Airbender, but also Avatar the movie, on how the world looks.
Yes.
You need perspective on that, but with the graphics of like How to Train Your Dragon or like Toy Story and stuff like that. So very interested to see what that world is, because I'm a big fantasy style, fan. So that would probably be the ones I'm most interested in that are dropping in 2021. Because I have a feeling God of War will not be out in 2021.
No.
I feel like that might be a March or April 2022 title.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then I'm all in on that. So those would probably be my biggest ones. Ratchet and Clank. Really looking forward to Returnal, because it's a new IP. I want to see, what new kind of gameplay features and things like that we could really do something different. Kena, Bridge of Spirits, and of course Horizon Forbidden West.
Good ones. DA?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm definitely excited for Returnal. Just because like it looks like it's another like roguelike type thing, and that's not like something they've done before.
Right.
And it's also a 3D shooter.
Exactly.
And like all the stuff they've shown recently, it almost feels like you're playing Resogun in 3D.
Yep.
The way they're shooting at you, and I'm just like.
And they actually showed her with a sword in melee combat, so that was new.
I didn't see that. I'm gonna have to go watch it
Oh,
again.
all right.
I'm sure I was probably doing like this. But I mean, I was gonna say Ragnarok, but I mean, like you said, it's probably not coming. I'm a huge Horizon fan, so of course Horizon's gonna be great. For third-party stuff, I'm really excited about Back 4 Blood.
Okay. It's been a long time since Left 4 Dead, so
yeah. I played the alpha, and it was way more fun than Left 4 Dead 2. And I mean, it needs some tuning. I mean, it was definitely too hard on the normal, but it's gonna be a banger this summer, I'm sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, and one title that hasn't been brought up by the two of you yet, and we'll see if it actually drops. I mean, no one knows, but Batman. What are you all? What are your impressions on the gameplay that we've seen so far? Are we? Because Arkham Knight,
Gotham Knights, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
as much as everyone loved Arkham City, Arkham Knight, yeah. So I mean, and again, this is different studio. I get it, but again, it's within that same kind of like sphere. So I mean, what do y'all think?
It didn't really do anything for me.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to see more. Like I've only seen like
A Batman-less.
Yeah.
Batman?
Like what's the? I mean, what's
what
the
are we
point?
doing here?
And
Okay.
it's almost like that fighting game they came out with. Like what was it? Imposters. Wasn't that Gotham Imposters?
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Oh,
It kind of feels like that, but like I mean, better,
Right.
but still like, why don't you just make another Batman game or just drop it? Like move on to something else.
So here's what's interesting about this game.
Okay.
So if I'm not mistaken, this is WB Montreal who did Arkham Origins.
They did.
Okay. So with the Court of Owls storyline, that's kind of what happens with Batman. Like, you think he's dead, right? So here's what's interesting.
They spent the trailer telling you.
Yeah, so you think he's dead.
Okay.
You think he's dead. But I think this is they're pulling the okie doke on us. Because, the main team is moving on to the Suicide Squad multiplayer game.
Right.
So everything that I've seen gameplay wise, like if Avengers had really hit, like people thought Avengers would really hit, I think people would be more excited about Gotham Knights. But I think there's this worry of like this co-op superhero experiment not really hitting like people want it to. For me, the gameplay looked fantastic.
Okay.
I thought it looked really good. I think it's got like drop in, drop out on site co-op, which I'm actually really excited about. My brother and I will be on that. And we are more fans of other characters in the Batman universe instead of just Batman.
Interesting.
So I can see I believe it. Like I can see why you would originally, that would be like playing a Marvel game without Spider-Man or playing a Marvel game without Iron Man. You know, once you get used to the main character in that universe, it can be different to have it in that universe without the main character.
Right.
So I think they're pulling okie doke on us. It's just me. I feel like that's what's happening. He'll make an appearance in that game somewhere down the line, I feel.
Okay.
But if not, I am a big fan of Red Hood. I'm a big fan of Nightwing, and I thought Batgirl was fantastic. So as far as the gameplay mechanics, I think that'll actually be a lot of fun.
Okay.
So I'm looking forward to it, but not on the level that a main single player Batman story would draw you in, because Rocksteady does such a good job with that universe.
Right.
And I think that's where people are falling off, because you've gotten so used to. That would almost be like Naughty Dog coming out and being like, we're going to do a multiplayer only Uncharted with none of the, you know what I mean?
Oh, even like, just none of the main.
Yeah, but it'd just be multiplayer only. It'd not be a single player action adventure. Because even with Lost Legacy, it was still a well constructed, almost Uncharted 2 style story based game. So,
but characters that you knew, obviously not as know, but characters that you were familiar with because they already had been previously featured. So
I'm looking forward to it. But I am in the minority on that one.
Okay. So you're looking forward to it, and you're like, okay.
It's like I can do without.
We'll see. It's like you said, it's the same feeling I had for Avengers. Like it looked cool at first, and then I realized it was gonna be like a Melee Destiny, and I'm like, I'm good on those live services right now.
Right.
So I just.
By the way, Gotham Knights is not a live service game.
Okay.
But they see what that does to you. It's not. It's just a 4-player co-op game. But or 2-player co-op with 4 players online.
Yeah.
But because of how Avengers hit, that's exactly what you think. You almost correlate the two together, and it's not actually a live service game. But that's what happens.
Okay, I didn't plan on getting into it, but Avengers, man.
It could be better.
Could be better.
Maybe when Spider-Man and Black Panther come out, you'll see an uptick, because they need a lot more content to keep everybody busy. And I owned it. I bought it when it came out and have barely touched the campaign. I'm essentially waiting for the PS5 upgrade and Spider-Man and Black Panther. Should
it have been a current gen release, or should it have been next gen? Should it have just?
I think it would have had a bigger impact had it been next gen only and PCs, right? I think it would have hit different. Same thing with Cyberpunk. I think if they would have done that, it would have been much more significant.
Yeah.
But I get it financially why you would do it. It makes sense. But at the end of the day, you don't want it to compromise the vision of your game. And I think that they should have probably held off and launched it PS5, Series X, PC.
Yeah, man. And the reality of the situation is next gen is here. We had, the Avengers and Cyberpunk. We had examples of games that hit current gen with next gen literally being right around the corner. Perhaps the lesson learned is, sometimes it's better to wait.
Right.
Sometimes it is better to wait. But speaking of waiting, I cannot wait to see what gaming brings us here in 2021. 2020, gaming for me personally was just a nice refuge from a lot of other things that were, going on, and we've all been impacted in some way, shape, or form. So gaming, I will say this, although the Nintendo is the most important game console ever made, and that's not for debate, I believe that for various reasons, this console launch that we just had in 2020 is the most important console launch that we had in light of everything else that's been going on. A healthy escape for many of us out there, and really looking forward to seeing where we go over these next 5 to 7 years with next gen. So on that note, we're going to go ahead and wrap it. My man DA, my man Ben, appreciate you all coming back through for Champions Material. This is for season 2. It's always a great time, for us to, do our thing when we get together. Hopefully you all out there, in the audience got a little something from this and had as much joy listening as we have had recording this and just chopping it up. So before we get up out of here, DA, you got anything for the people out there, man? Let them know what you got going on.
All right, thanks. I'm currently doing it's kind of part-time, full-time live streaming on Twitch and YouTube at twitch.tv /Cloaked in Death, CLOAKINDEA.
Cloaked in Death. All right.
I'm sure there might be something in the description. Maybe we'll see. But I have my schedule posted on Twitch. I just hit affiliate status. So yeah, we're just trying to see if we can grow this channel and see where it goes.
Right.
But that's what I'm doing. You can follow me on Twitch or YouTube at Cloaked in Death.
And let me ask you this too, to that point, what are some of what are the games that you've been primarily streaming so far? And and I know some individuals that stream, they will, interact with individuals who follow and tune in and perhaps take requests. So what is the games that you primarily, focus on, and what is the goal of what you're?
Okay, so I'm mostly gonna do variety. So I'm gonna have some just chatting here and there, but mostly it's gonna be PlayStation and PC focused.
Okay.
But as of right now, the most that I've streamed has been Hades, and then
the 2020 game of the year.
Yeah,
okay.
Because you can just literally play that for hours and talk to yourself, and it's easy. I don't know, it's easy mode. But yeah, Ghost of Tsushima, mostly the Legends, but I am gonna do the New Game Plus full playthrough on stream.
Word, okay.
And then I've also been playing Godfall, just because might as well capitalize on PS5. Well, it's hard to get. I know it's sad, but people want to watch. So and then there's also the fact that I even helped people on the stream. They come in how do I do this? And then we show them on the stream. And it's it can become a learning situation for people too. And it's just really cool to see the people from the different areas of the world tune in. But yeah, I just those are the games I'm playing now. But as PS5 exclusives come out, you can guarantee I'll be streaming those.
Oh yeah, of course, man.
Maybe some trophy hunting streams. Oh, and also my wife is probably going to join me as well throughout the year.
Oh, okay.
And there will be little bits of our dog Nitro. But yeah, it's a fun time, and I'm glad I started doing it.
Cloaked in Death. All right, you know what I mean, and ironically, I did want to point this out as far as what you do. Obviously, we are gamers, but at the end of the day, it's life and it's adulting. Mm-hmm. It's important to stay. And one of the things that we've been dealing with, unfortunately, is COVID, and it's a lot of things being thrown out. And I'm not even having that debate right now. But if it's one thing that we know for a fact is, the more active you are, the more healthy you are. If you are unfortunate to catch this, terrible disease, you are better prepared and better equipped to be able to deal with it, not only just in the short term, but also any of the long-term effects that you may have. And my man right here runs a gym. And for those who listen in the Carolina, he's out of the Burlington area. And again, shelter in place and us doing our due diligence of not necessarily going out and, putting ourselves at risk. Unfortunately, one of the drawbacks to that is that we're in, and it's hard to find ways to be active and find safe spaces to go and do what you can to stay healthy, stay fit, and try to stay in the best shape as you can. So I wanted to have you just point out, because there's a lot of, for example, my gym. There are members at the gym that I train that still think the damn gym is closed, and it's been open, and we do things, we follow protocols to make it a safe space, but also a space where you can come and train, be active, just get out. So I just wanted you to highlight, what you do.
Yeah. So, I run the Gold's Gym Burlington, right? Mm-hmm. And, one of the most important things is not just physical, but mental health, and it's a great avenue to really kind of get that release for yourself, get the stress out. Everybody has health protocols that we have to follow, 25% capacity, masks are required when you come in, when you leave in, anytime you're in close proximity, there's housekeeping there, open to close. We really kind of take every measure to make sure that people have a space, to continue to stay active, because the less active you are, the more susceptible you are to disease, and things like that. So, mental, physical, emotional health is important. It's a big part of that kind of circle of, health and wellness. And, we just got to get as many people active as possible, and being able to kind of do both is great for me, spend that time staying active, coming home, getting some game time in is good. I don't get as much as I would prefer, right. From day to day, but yeah, we always have that opportunity to stay connected, right. And to stay active. So if you guys are interested and you need a space to do that, Gold's Gym Burlington has been open since July 2nd. So, if you're in that area and you're looking for something, make sure to reach out to us and see what we can do to help you guys out.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Consider it done. All right, everybody. I appreciate you all in the audience for tuning in. As always, you can find Champions material on Facebook, Instagram, IG, Twitter, and our official Champions Material YouTube channel. Feel free to send any feedback, ideas to champions.materialsv@gmail.com. And as I mentioned on the previous 2 shows that we've done for season 2, the Champions Material Discord channel is now live. That is our community. And to piggyback off of what Ben was saying just a moment ago, mental health, emotional health is just as important as physical health. You don't, shelter in place. You don't want to feel alone, right? This is our community on the Discord channel, a place that we get together. It's a place where I get to know you all get to know each other. We can have dialogue around show topics, life topics, doesn't matter. And so definitely get in there and check us out. Discord is totally free. It's a safe space for us. For those out there who are listening who are already on Discord, look for me. I am Shawn V6172. My profile pic is the Joker, my favorite DC character. And for those out there who are unfamiliar with Discord and how to get set up, don't worry. I got you covered. I break that down specifically in episode 1 at about the 47-minute mark. So definitely check out that episode 1, season 2. Fast forward to the 47-minute mark, and I just walk you through how to get set up. It's simple, it's easy, but I definitely want to encourage everyone to get in there and check us out. It's definitely something I'm looking forward to see grow as us to grow as a community. As I mentioned on episode 1, back in season 1, we. My name is on Champions Material, but this is our show. This is our safe space. This is our forum to, talk about, again, everything from show topics to life topics. I'm here. Get at me. So with that said, we're going to go ahead and break. And before we do, never forget, whoever you want to be and whatever you want to be, always be the champion of it. That's Champions Material. Stay tuned. We'll be back sooner than later with our next episode. But for now, we're done. Fellas.
Oh, good stuff, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, that was fun.
Yeah, that's always stuff. Episode in the books. Yeah, man. My brother. And thanks for being here.